Alrighty, folks, welcome in. It is good to see all of these familiar faces in the chat this morning. Hello, everybody. Welcome. My name is Voodoo Val, and I am resuming as your instructor for the Photoshop Daily Creative Challenge. It is a beautiful Monday morning here in Northern California. I would love to know where all of you folks are tuning in from. And yeah, I'm very excited to kind of jump into what I have planned for today. I see Emma, I see Golden Rose, Tatiana, Biola, General Canopi. Hello there. I see Andreas, Mercurial, Mia, Sam Peterson, the one and only. I see Bev, it's good to see you. Fairy, hello. Steve Festus Costaboom. I butchered your name and I say it every time. I'm so sorry. Steve Festus Kosovo, the man with the name. It's good to see all of you folks in here. How's everyone doing? I hope you all had a wonderful weekend. Jennifer Cowell, welcome in. Bryce, hello. Lovely day in New York City. Frank, welcome in. Susan, hello. All right, so yeah, I'm gonna kind of jump into kind of the rules for the Daily Creative Challenge. I'm going to show you folks where you can go to get the information that you need to join in with me this morning. And then we're going to dive into our first challenge of the week. And I'm excited because, as you folks know, one thing that I've been trying to do for these challenges is make sure that you either have a fictional client to be working for, or make sure that you folks have like a real world design problem to solve, essentially, with these challenges. So we're not creating things that just happen to be fun, that we can do in Photoshop. It's not so much that we're just focusing on one specific tool. We are solving a problem, and I'm trying to put together something that will help you folks in your endeavors going forward, to find clients, to do kind of like paid job work, and all of that stuff. So fictional, yeah, I usually like, there's some of the challenges for last week. You either had a fictional client to design for, or you had a real life application scenario, a problem to solve that you may have already faced as somebody who is working in the digital art industry, or a problem that you will face if you are looking to go into the industry. So register for challenges here. Yes, thank you so much, Sam. That is the landing page for the Photoshop Daily Creative Challenge. That is behance.net/challenge/Photoshop. And I am going to actually pop over here. I hope my music's not too loud. Let me crank this down. It looks a little bit loud. Let me know what the levels are like for you folks. But I'm going to pop over here to this page. This is the landing page. If you have never been here before, you'll know that you are in the right place if you see the March 1st through March 26th date range up at the top. Those are the challenges that we are going to be working on. If you don't see that date up at the top, because maybe you're watching this out of order, maybe you are a few months in the future and you are returning to do previous challenges, there may be another date for you up here when you go to this landing page. So if you would like to hunt for the March 1st through March 26th challenge set, all you have to do is scroll down here to the bottom, and you will see this huge scrolling list of all of the previous challenges where you can hunt for it by date, and say watch all, and it will give you the playlist of all of the videos, all of the past streams for every challenge, plus you will still be able to download the starter files, which is really helpful. Sound is okay. All right. Jennifer Poole, I'm glad that you are excited, because I am very, very excited. The music is very zen. I'm glad you think so, Mia. That is what we want for this morning. All right, so I'm going to scroll up here and I'm going to show you the challenges that are unlocked so far. So we've had a photo compositing challenge, a packaging design challenge, we've had a photo manipulation challenge, and we ended we ended last week with the special effects challenge, where we created a spray effect. Today we're going to do photo editing. So we are going to use sky replacement in Photoshop alongside editing tools in Lightroom to brighten the mood in an overcast photo. All right. Now, the real world application for you folks who need kind of an explanation for why this challenge is important. Many of you may have already faced this issue before, and if you have not faced this issue, and you're working towards kind of going into freelancing or looking for studio work or whatever it is that brings you to Adobe Live this morning for the challenge, you will probably face this issue at some point in your career. And that issue is that when you take a client and you are creating, maybe you're designing an app for them, maybe you're designing social media promos for them, maybe you are designing some animations for them, maybe you're doing a pitch deck or a style guide or something for your client, whatever it is, if it includes photos, sometimes when you create the pitch, it's really easy to make your designs like very attractive and very fun, okay? The thing is that when you get your content from your client, you're not always guaranteed to receive beautiful, high quality photos from that client. So you may have placeholder images and stuff in your original design, and then you get the client's photos and you drop them into your design, and all of a sudden your design looks 50% worse because not everybody has the know-how to take great pictures for their products and for their brand to supply their designers. In fact, most of the time, people who are hiring you, the designer, to create something beautiful for their company and business brand, they're hiring you because they don't have that know-how. You know what I mean? So today we're going to kind of dive into how you can take photos that look a little drab and dark and actually change them up to look brighter and more exciting to fit any branding that you may have to add them into. So you can go from kind of subpar gloomy photos into something that is sharp and beautiful and high quality looking. Use the enhance button. Yeah. I wish there was a big red button that would just like fix everything, but unfortunately we've got to use a lot more sliders and buttons to get to that point, but I'm going to show you how to do it. So I'm going to pop over here to my Photoshop. If you hit that getting started button on the challenge, you will notice you can download this file here. It has a little description of the challenge, and then I've also put in some assets for you, and I'm going to pop myself over to the left side of my screen here so I don't block my libraries. And I am going to, yeah, Sean Kosel says, pro tip, hire a photographer. True. And but the thing is, not many people do that. And in fact, some people who are looking to hire you to like boost their brand in the very beginning, they're hiring you, and that's all they can afford is just social media branding and graphics. They're not really yet at the point where they can go and, you know, find like extravagant photos and all of this stuff. And as a designer, it's up to you to take that content and make it look as good as you can make it look. And sometimes client photos can really trash a design, let me tell you. Yes, make bad photos pop. It's the bane of designing. Yeah, it really can be hard. So Ferry says, sometimes I try to make the best one for them, but turns out they choose a worse one. Yeah, it is so hard. Judith says, Val, you're telling the truth. When you ask the client for any landscape orientation photos and they send you pictures of landscapes. Yeah, and it's just like, this is like taken on a Nokia phone from 2004. What am I supposed to do with this? All right, so in my libraries, I have actually already set up a library full of all of my current assets. So I've put in some images here. They are free. They're from the free Adobe stock section. And I've grabbed 3 photos that I thought were good for this challenge and thrown them in there. And you can choose any one of these that you want, or you can choose a photo of something else that you would prefer to work with. You're not necessarily required to use these photos, but I'm going to use this sunset scene, the beach scene here, and I'm just going to go ahead and open it, and I'm going to show you why I chose this photo. Now, this isn't really a bad photo per se, but the issue is that it is an image, maybe as far as fictional clients go, this is an image from somebody who is looking to advertise for a sunny beach getaway, but it doesn't really look sunny. It's a sunset, and it's not even like an image that you would say would be like beach vacation sunset picture, the sun is just low in the sky. It's not extra impressive, and they want me to use this as the image that's going to be on the front of their website to show everyone how sunny and beautiful and wonderful this island is, but it's not sunny at all. So we're gonna change the mood of this photo entirely, okay? And one of the first things that I'm going to do about this is I'm going to replace this sky, because I want to edit this image to look super bright and lovely, but I can't really do that with this sky because we've got the sun super low in the sky, and unless I decide I want to Photoshop a new sun in here that's higher, I think I'm gonna go with Sky Replace, and Sky Replace is super easy to use. So I'm gonna enter this next view of Photoshop. You can kind of cycle through the different views of Photoshop by pressing F. If you like, I prefer to use the second view here because it gives me a little more room and a little more space. And what I'm gonna do is come up here to Edit and Sky Replacement. And it'll replace the entire sky for me. That is really, really easy. And you'll notice that it actually, if I change let's see, if I change to like a blue sky, let me zoom out here. I want you to keep an eye on these palm fronds over here because it's going to select and change the sky in between all of these palm fronds as well. So let's take a look at this. If I open the blue skies panel, maybe we can look at this one. Not bad. Look, it changes in between here. It looks as if the sky has been replaced. We do still have some issues here because sky replacement is not 100% perfect. Notice that we have kind of this area here where that brightness is a little odd because that sun was there. And there's also the matter of the light from the sun still being reflected onto the water, but we're going to deal with that in Lightroom. But first I'm gonna kind of flip around and change. That's actually not so bad right there. That actually looks interesting. Kind of this receding perspective of clouds looks pretty cool. We can try something like this. I think that may be a little too flat because we're like kind of hyper in. I don't think that one looks good either. I think that is like more of a straight on image of these clouds, and this is kind of a perspective image, like showing this disappearing kind of vantage point out here in the middle of the canvas. So I kind of want to choose images of clouds that match that. Maybe we can come in here to specular. We have like an overcast rainbow, which is kind of interesting, and notice it changed the colors actually here of our palms to kind of make this image look like it blends in a little bit better. I'm wondering though if we ought to, you know, that doesn't actually look bad. It's overcast, but I could still make it look warm. Let me try a couple of other ones. That's interesting. I'm kind of just flipping through and looking for some stuff. That looks cool too, but I still don't think it's like in the right kind of way for us. That could be interesting too. That one's a little brighter, but I still think it's a little too overcast for us. And then let's check out what we have left in sunsets. These are sunsets though, and I don't really want a sunset. I want to make the sky brighter and warmer, and I don't think a sunset is going to do that for us. So I think I'm gonna kind of forget about the sunsets, and I'm gonna go into specular and maybe choose, these are kind of sunset-esque, but I think that they're a little bit brighter than normal. Maybe this one. I do actually like this, and I know that it's a little strange and different, but I think I may actually go with that and just brighten it up. So one of the things I can do is I can shift the edge of this, and I can make it a little more visible compared to if I turn the shift edge down. You can see that it shows a lot more of our image, like our original image in the sky than before. But if I crank that shift edge up, you can see how it starts to really just take away that initial sky, and it starts to make this one more prevalent. Oops, not want to do that. Did I just drag that over? I sure did. Also keep in mind that this is in fact an image that is added into your file, and that image actually has boundaries and borders, so you'll wanna remember that. I'm trying to make sure that it's not too terribly intrusive here, and I think, let me see if I can crank. I don't want to crank the brightness up because we are going to dive into Lightroom, and it's not necessary for me to do any of the brightness editing in here. And then what it does is it actually just exports it to its own highlight layer and sky layer. It's got like a nice mask in there around our sky area, and that is how you would replace the sky. Now, one thing I want to do is I want to brighten this up because the rest of it is very dark and I'd like to make it a little more clear. So I'm going to actually flip over here to my face cam because I'm going to start pulling up Lightroom and all that good stuff. So give me one moment. I'm going to save my file. If I can. I'm going to save this as a PNG, and then I'm just going to open it in Lightroom real quick. I'm going to call this starter file 5, and I'm going to call it stream test. There we go. And we're going to save that as a PNG. Save. Okay, and then I'm going to pop over to Lightroom. Give me 1 second, and I am going to pull this up. I'm going to import a photo. Let me see if I can find, sorry, my Lightroom is having a capture issue. For whatever reason, I can't get it to capture on the stream, so forgive me for this strange moment of dead space here. I will be back to be able to show you the how I'm working on this in just a moment. All right, add photo. Okay, there we go. So let me pop over here back to my stream. Ta-da! Okay, now what I'm going to do that I have this kind of imported into Lightroom is I'm going to edit it a little bit because there's still a little bit of issues. Like I said, screen or sky replacement is not 100% perfect. You can see there's some inconsistencies over here where that sun was, and I've got that mountain in there from the new photo that we have, which I actually really like, but we need all of this to be very cohesive. So this is how I'm going to edit it. Number one is I am going to open my light panel, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to crank up some of these whites, okay, just a little bit, and then I'm going to crank down, maybe not crank down some of the shadows too much, actually, maybe we'll bring the shadows up just slightly, and I also want to kind of expose it a little bit just to make it brighter. Okay, we're starting to make it look more like daytime. All right, I'm going to open my color, and you can come in here and change what you feel is best for your image, but I am going to warm it up just a little bit, and the reason why I'm going to do that is because I do want it to be brighter and warmer, but I don't want it to be like, how do I say this? Whenever you're using these sliders in Lightroom, a lot of people typically, they slide the slider until they notice a drastic change. You do not have to do that. For example, especially up here in light, if you want things to change, if you crank up the whites a little bit and then crank the shadows down just a little bit, sometimes that is the same as like cranking up the whites exponentially, but it looks a little bit better. So you do the white a little bit, you do the opposites just a tiny bit, and I found that that works for me. And try not to like be super dramatic with these sliders because it doesn't always look great when you make huge drastic changes to it, but if you do very small subtle changes along the way, then you can actually start to get some really nice colors. I do want to crank those shadows back up. However, you do actually get some really nice effects if you can work with with subtlety instead of drama. So let's see, I'm gonna work with the blues here in this color mixer, and I'm gonna see what it looks like if we kind of start messing with those. I think maybe I'll come over here to this green, because I do want this green to be really beautiful. My only problem is that I don't want it to change too much in other areas of the painting, so or of the photo, so I think that's probably good, just a tiny bit. And then I'm gonna come over here because I can desaturate that. Okay, that makes it look really drab if I suck all the color out of there, but I also don't want to, you don't want to crank it up and make it nuts. So if you want to add some saturation, you can add just a tiny bit. Try not to go too crazy with it. And then let's see, I'm going to come in here to effects. So one of the things that I really like to do is work on this clarity, because the clarity actually does give you like a nice sharp look. It cleans things up, and then you can also use the dehaze if you prefer, and the dehaze will kind of suck all of that soft kind of blurriness out of it, if that's right for your image. Sometimes it's not right. Sometimes that will make it worse. And then one thing that you can do is down here, you've got this little kind of Jekyll and Hyde icon where there's like an empty part of an image and a solid image, and you can click that and it'll show you the original and your edited photo. And then you can kind of take a look at that and see how things are going. Now, I do think that some of my sky detail is kind of washed out, and so normally I will go in there and kind of find out how I can remedy that. However, we've got just a few minutes left. So I'm gonna leave it as is. I hope that when you do yours, you will spend some time tweaking. But the last thing that I really wanna do for this is I want to crop it, because this does not look great to me over here. If it's got this shine in the water that is not cohesive with the new sky and lighting situation. So I'm gonna bring this over here, and then if I wanted to, I could actually bring this up, because I don't think we need that much information. Basically what I'm deciding is that if my client is showing off kind of like this place that you can go, then all of these rocks and everything down here maybe aren't as necessary for it. And maybe you folks will feel differently about your fictional client piece, but that's, you know, kind of the mindset that I'm going in, and I'm gonna go ahead and hit. There we go. And I think that looks good. And let me see, for just a handful of minutes of work here, I do still need to kind of mess with that sky. That's kind of bugging me, because I don't think that it has, it's doing it justice. One of the things that could be done, however, though, is maybe you edit your photo in Lightroom and then replace the sky afterwards, because those sky images are pretty beautiful and like larger than life, and maybe the way that it should be attempted is to replace the sky after you have changed your photo to be the, you know, the colors and the kind of mood and vibe that you want, and then do it. So yeah, that is how I would create this. And in fact, maybe I can say file, I think I can go edit in Photoshop. Maybe we'll pull this back into Photoshop if you give it just a moment to think. And maybe we'll do the sky replace again now that we have this new image. So let's go edit sky replacement and see if doing the sky replacement afterward is a good idea. Let's grab like a bluer sky. Let's come into the blue skies and just see what we've got. Interesting. Oh, that actually was really believable. I'm gonna crank the edge up a little bit. I'm still not liking this. Now that I've added that mountain in from the other image, I kind of want it to be gone. And cranking it all the way up doesn't really change that. So maybe that's something I can come in with, like the spot healing brush or something. Like if I really want this daytime sky in here, maybe I can come in with like the patch tool or something, or content aware fill. Maybe we could do that. Maybe I can select all of this. And oh, this is actually all in one thing. So maybe I'll select this, right click, say convert to smart object, and then maybe I can come in to edit and do a content aware fill. Forgive me, my system is thinking hard because I am also streaming on this computer, and that can be a little tedious. I think I've got like 1 minute left, but I can go edit. I need to select an area, so maybe I'll go like this, boom, and I will go edit. Oh, excuse me. Can't do, oh, because it's a smart object. Well, I could try that, but I don't have enough time to noodle with it right now because I do have to take off. I kind of ran out of time there to do extra things that we did not plan for. But yeah, I think I'm going to do a content aware fill on this though, and then I'll post it in the Discord. But it has been a blast. Thank you folks so much for joining me. I hope that this helps you kind of think about how you can solve these problems that you may face in the real design world. And I can't wait to see what kind of stuff that you put together. I hope you will join me tomorrow morning for another challenge, and please stay tuned right now because I am not the only person who is streaming on Adobe Live today. We have some wonderful designers coming up after me, and I know that you will enjoy them. So I will see you folks later. Happy designing, everyone.